Hello, my friends. I'm going to record a short video, keep it as brief as possible, regarding tinnitus and hyperacusis, both of which I've suffered from. Well, I don't use the word suffering anymore. I've experienced for 10 years now. Um, you probably have already seen many people online comment on some of these very similar things that I'm going to comment on. Generally, the first thing you do when you're afflicted, you have it for a few weeks, and now it's considered chronic, which means you're probably going to have it for the rest of your life. However, don't get discouraged. It doesn't mean your life is ruined, and it doesn't mean it has to bother you. And I'll get into the rest of your life, and I'll get into that in a moment. I'll touch upon it, and then maybe have to record. If you guys send me some questions, I'll see if my comments are open. I'll record future videos. By the way, let me just say, my videos I'm not being paid for any of this. I'm not sponsoring anything, and nor do I care to. I'm just going through what have I experienced in life, how have I been able to address it successfully, and I'm going to talk about my experience. I'm not here to preach to anyone, so I'm going to tell you what I did, and you can just take it for what it's worth. Some of it is going to be talking about some other products and services because I've tried things, but I'm just going to keep it as much as I can to my own personal experience. So, as I mentioned, I had it for 10 years. I've had it for 10 years. I'll be very honest with you. If you don't have tinnitus or hyperacusis, or you're not close to someone who personally has it, you have no idea what it is because it's subjective. It's a phantom sound. You can't hear it. Do I look? I have for the first few years was literally disabled by it. Do I look like a disabled person? No, it's an invisible disability, just like depression is. It's an invisible disability, and depression, anxiety, and all this also can result from tinnitus, and it can be a very vicious circle of then getting tinnitus and getting anxious, and then getting your tinnitus getting worse, and now not sleeping, and blah 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 blah. It's a loop. But if you know this and you work towards it, you can break that cycle. First of all, I will say anything that's promoted as a cure, even if it says a doctor recommended treatment, I'm talking about herbal supplements. I'm talking about stuff that you can buy in every pharmacy. Does not Did not work for me one bit. Waste of money. All these tinnitus for training, neuromonics, 10 grand, waste of money. Okay. I spent my life savings at 42, $100,000. I was planning to buy a house. I spent the whole thing on medical expenses to try and treat my tinnitus. Okay. And I'm sure I'm not alone in this, but that's what I went through. Now, what does so okay? I got no script here, so forgive me. I'm just coming up with things based on my experience. I will definitely tell you the first 5 years I did take Ambien and sleeping pills because there was I could not get any sleep. I did have to quit my job because I could not function because of hyperacusis. I could not listen to the speakerphones in conference rooms, and my employers did not care one bit about my medical condition and trying to reduce the volume to make my life a little less of pain and suffering. I spent the first several years not even be able to listen to the radio or watch TV. I worked for a year after the onset of my tinnitus. I sat there. I went home with no radio in my car, went home with no TV because I had very severe hyperacusis. I couldn't even actually have this conversation with you at this volume. It would be so painful. I had nerve pain all the way down here that I don't have anymore. Um, just so you know how extreme my case was, I have it. I've had it 24/7 for 10 years. You can do the math on how many days and nights that is, but it's a lot. Um, I went to tinnitus clinics. ENTs, audiologists, otolaryngologists. I did the whole medical workup. Nothing worked. By the way, your ENT is not your ally in this, even though ear is in their job title. And it's actually not because they don't have solutions. It's partly that, in my opinion, partly because they really just don't care. Now, um, and before I forget, it's also a reason why when you research tinnitus online, you're all negative stories, doomsday, and you just go like, I don't want to live anymore. No, there are a lot of positive stories. The reason why you don't see them online is when people get better, they tend to move on with life and don't post videos like this about how they got better. And yeah, life is great now. But that was a 10-year journey, a little mini journey within the larger journey of life. So, um, I've tried everything you can think of: medications, sound therapies, massage therapy, um, meditation, yoga. I can't even tell you all variety of medications that were not only not even not helpful. The side effects were so uh, downright crappy. There was no benefit to it. So um, the fact of the matter is, everyone's tinnitus is different. Everyone's tinnitus is different. So there is no blanket treatment that treats tinnitus for everyone. You're going to have to do what I've already done, not just with my tinnitus, but many health things throughout my life. It's never pleasant when you go to a doctor and you're suffering, and your doctor says, we can't do anything about it. Sorry, you got to go home. I can give you an antidepressant sleeping pill, and that's your life for the rest of your life. So I actually sat there and wept, cried in my ENT's office, and he said, okay, all right, have a nice day, bye. I'm a patient crying in your office, in distress. You couldn't even go, patient suffering. Maybe I should refer him to the hospital. Maybe I should give him a number to, some counseling or psychological services. No. So, sounds harsh. All those doctors are shit. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what tinnitus is, because I stopped doing that about 6 or 7 years ago. I stopped explaining what tinnitus is to anyone in the healthcare profession and anyone on the street, because I found nobody gets it. Nobody understands it. You're wasting your time and energy and your breath. Unless you find a person who personally has it or is close to someone who personally has it, nobody gets what they look at you and they go, you look fine. You're not physically disabled. What are you talking about? Mine was a workers' comp issue, by the way. I even took it up to the highest levels of workers' comp because they approved my claim for tinnitus, which didn't do anything for me because the ENT doctors couldn't do anything. They closed my case 10 million times. I had to reopen it a number of times. It's all in the past. Anyways, I'm not going to rehash that. I even took it up to them and I said, I'm suffering from depression, anxiety, and because of my hyperacusis, I need earplugs for this. Earplugs, $5-10 a month. They declined all of that. The highest level in the state of Texas, where I was at the time, a workers' compensation judge says, we don't understand why you have, and I've heard many other people tell me this, including doctors. Okay, you have tinnitus. I don't understand why you have depression as a result of that. I don't understand why you would have anxiety as a result. You have hyperacusis. I don't understand why you need earplugs. They denied everything. They denied everything, and I just said, screw it. I'm just going to work. I'm going to pay for everything myself. Now, two things people will tell you, and both of them are true and false at the same time. This is where it comes down to you as the individual. If you focus on your tinnitus, you'll be aware of it and you'll hear it more and you'll be distressed more because what you think about, you are and you become. However, there's a contradiction here or caveat. If you try to intentionally not think about your tinnitus, you'll also end up thinking about your tinnitus, hearing it, and being distressed, and so on and so forth. Because I'll give you an example that I got from someone else. I didn't make this up. But if I tell you right now, don't think about a pink elephant. Don't do it. Every one of you just envisioned a pink elephant. So There's a lot of psychology involved in here. I've been studying it a lot for 10 years. Buddhism, meditation, since my tinnitus started. So it's been actually a blessing. There's a silver lining there as far as I look at it. It changed me as a person to go down a spiritual path in my own way, get a routine, get everything else in order for my health, eating, exercise, the whole nine. Try and get the best sleep that I can get. Every night's different. It is what it is. I can now got to a point where I can function on 4 nights of sleep, and in every 48 in every 2 day period of time, and I'll be fine. It didn't kill me because there's neuroplasticity. Something to look into, neuroplasticity. I do highly recommend cognitive behavioral therapy, but I do recommend seeking someone out who actually knows what tinnitus is if they don't personally suffer from it themselves. I had cognitive behavioral therapy for tinnitus from actually a person who was my age and actually suffered from tinnitus themselves. So they can dealt with a lot of patients with this problem. So they can really relate to what you're describing. If you find so, try and find that. Okay, um, that's your best chance for success. Try it as best you can. Keep yourself calm, your anxiety under control. Don't get upset in traffic. Don't get upset over small things in life. We all have stresses and worries. Just realize most of them are just superficial first world problems, and you're going to get over it. Okay? So start training yourself. And it takes years. This is not overnight. This is years. I've been meditating twice a day for 10 years to get to this point. In addition to other things, reading psychology, neuroplasticity, neurolinguistic programming, the list goes on and on and on and on. So, all I can say is that is really some words of encouragement. If you asked me 5 years ago that I'd be here today living with tinnitus and not bothered by it, I would have never believed you for 1 second that I can actually go like a week or something and not hear it. Now, I do hear it every day, but usually it's at night. So my sleep is still interrupted, but daytime, I'm not bothered by it. I can actually read books. I can sit in some silence. There are good days and there are bad days. Expect that. The habituation process, I'm not going to go into what that means um, mentally, but you can go research that on your own because that's what they say your treatment for tinnitus is. It's habituation. So look into that. And some people go through that process more quickly than others. I hear a lot of people that say the habituation for tinnitus takes place in about 3 to 6 months. Took me 8 years. I don't know where they get these numbers from. Maybe they're not cases like me, severe bilateral 24/7, screaming like a freight train at night. But by hook or by crook, I got there, okay, to enough degree. And then I have all kinds of other coping skills that I do, right? Keep your anxiety low, watch your mental health, watch your mood. It's all very correlated. You may have already experienced when your anxiety or stress level goes up. Well, your tinnitus seems to be more noticeable, symptomatically louder, subjectively. So there is hope. Don't give up. Unfortunately, there is no here's the document that's going to treat your thing. Every case is different, which is plagues the medical community too, because they don't know how to treat it because everyone is different. But you are responsible for your own health, not your doctor, because they don't give a shit if you live or die. Let's face it, not in this country. Okay? They don't care if you die and your mother has to bury you. They don't care. Okay? My personal patient experiences, and I've had a lot of bad patient experiences. So you are responsible for your own health. So you have to embark on a journey now that's going to be a long, painful and journey, but the end result is worth it. And you've got to try and find your own coping skills. That's what I can offer to you today. Thank you for listening.